Hello, it's Alex. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Friday SEWS. And just a quick thank you to say thank you so much for all your really encouraging comments last week. I love my Delano dress from last week. I was feeling a little bit nervous about wearing something as short as that. You know, I know it's only above the knee, but it's out of my comfort zone. But all your really encouraging comments gave me the confidence to throw aside any sort of lingering doubts, and I wore the dress at the weekend and really loved wearing it. Super comfy to wear. So yeah, thank you very much for that. So this week I have been relatively constructive in that I have made and finished a garment, and yeah, I'm really keen to show it to you because I think you know that I've been trying to make a bit of an effort to focus on patterns from lesser known pattern sewing companies, and that's definitely led me to lots of French pattern companies recently. Can't claim the credit for finding this one. I heard about it on the Punkfrockers podcast. Jenny and Beverly were talking about it, and they are the Farra pants from Piar. And when I heard about this pattern and they described it, I just thought this could be my dream jeans pattern. So there are a couple of things about it that I really like. Mostly to do with the darts. So rather than being a standard pair of jeans with a yoke at the back and, you know, all the usual bits and pieces, the patch pockets, the 5 pockets, the little coin pocket, all of that, that is what they are, but they have a detail at the back where there are 2 darts that where the yoke normally would sit. Now for me that is absolutely brilliant, and I think it would be absolutely brilliant for lots of people. In my case, my issue is that I have a sway back. So yeah, definitely got a sway back. And in fact, at that bit there on my back, my body actually kind of goes inwards to quite a large extent. And for years, whenever I've bought trousers that are ready to wear, even when I make my own, I've ended up with this kind of bridge of fabric across this section that's just kind of sitting loose, not doing anything. You know, like if you met somebody untoward, they could stick their hand down there. Don't usually meet those types, but anyway, you know what I mean. Right down to the extent that these, I just thought I'd show you this. These are my hiking trousers that I use for walking with dogs, because it always rains in Manchester, and if you go for a dog walk it's guaranteed to rain. Same as when my kids were at school. If you go and pick the kids up from school, guaranteed to rain. So these fit me, they are my size. If I size down they would be too small, but I have had to put in the back a section of elastic, because without that, I'll get closer, it's quite a good thing, you see, otherwise I'm sort of gaping, and that's exactly how they sit on my body. So I end up with this kind of weird section of fabric on the centre back that's sticking out, and as I say, if I size down they wouldn't fit, and it's really annoying to have. So, but yes, quite a good little trick to do if you have got ready to wear things that are, have the same issue. But I think for lots of body types and lots of shapes, having those 2 darts at the back could really help with fit. So I was very excited to make them. The other thing that I really like about this, which is unusual in somebody or in a pattern company that's starting out and relatively new, is that they have operated from day one with 2 blocks. So that means that their pattern sizing range is really inclusive. The largest hip size I think is a 71 inches. So that means that a whole wide range of us can wear these trousers, which again is something fantastic, and especially for somebody starting out. Quite often pattern companies start with a smaller block, and then some of them, not all, are gradually increasing their size range. So again, another one woman band, and yeah, I like supporting those companies. So there are 3 leg widths in these jeans. They all, I think they all are in negative ease from, I always want to say negative equity, not the same thing and much more depressing. Negative ease from waist to knee. So they are designed for a stretch denim, and they are designed for a proper stretch denim. Not just that little bit of give, you get that bit of comfort stretch. I think it was 10 to 20% stretch. So it's going to be a denim that's got quite a lot of elastane in there, or whatever's giving that stretch. Which makes them super comfy, of course. But yeah, negative ease from waist to hip, and then there is a straight leg, a wide leg, and a flare. I went with the straight leg. I think I've said before that, like lots of people, we're all kind of moving away from skinny jeans. No law that says you can't wear skinny jeans, but they've been around a long time. It's nice to be wearing something else. So I went for the straight leg. I have to say that they are a little bit more like they're not a skinny, but they are skinnier than I would have liked. I think I would have preferred something a little bit wider. But that's okay, because that just means I have the perfect excuse to make a second pair, and if I do that, I will make the wide leg version. Okay, so instruction wise, they are pretty good. All the information there that you need. I wouldn't say they are super hand-holding instructions, not like somebody like Helen's Closet or Pattern Emporium, one of those companies that really does walk you through, but everything is there, all the information is there. So maybe for somebody with a little bit of experience, good finished garment measurements. Obviously, if you look at the finished garment measurements, don't get too concerned, because it is negative ease, so the waist is going to be a smaller measurement than your actual waist. They recommend that you choose the size based on your hip, which makes sense, and then you either decrease or increase the waist measurement if you need to. And there are instructions on how to do that. There are instructions on how to do quite a lot of the different types of adjustment that you might need for trousers. So, a lot of thought has gone into it. They've been really good. There are templates for the back pockets as well, so you can print off some, I think maybe half a dozen different designs that she's provided. So you can print them off and use those to do your own design on the back pocket, or of course you can do your own. I decided to do my own. I think it's quite a bit of fun, really, isn't it? And if you don't like them, you can always whip them off and put another little set on. And there was lots of information about things like how to deal with stretch fabric. She doesn't recommend, for example, that you use things like rivets in, often we use rivets in the corners of the pockets, don't we? Like you get on ready-to-wear jeans, just to keep them strong and to make sure you don't, rip them when you stick your hands in them or your phone. But because of it being such a stretchy fabric, that it can break the fibres break the stretch fibres in the fabric if you're using rivets and things. So yeah, lots of information. She does recommend that you use a triple stitch for sewing all the seams, which I did. I find using a triple stitch a total pain, just because it takes 3 times the amount of time to do a seam, and I'm a naturally impatient person, so yeah, it's a bit annoying, but better to do that than have a load of stitches breaking. So really good information. The only thing I did slightly differently is that with the top stitching instructions, they were mostly to use a single needle, and where you were doing a double row stitching, it was a case of start at one end, go all the way around the pocket, and then a few stitches over and down to keep everything nice and secure. And I decided not to do that. I decided to use my twin needle, not for everything, not for things like the fly front, but the majority of the top stitching. I just like how the twin needle looks. And I fancied having slightly different coloured threads in each needle. So I had black thread in one needle, a true black thread, and then I had a charcoal grey in the other, and I hoped that that would just give a bit of an effect on the top stitching because the fabric being black, until I went to my machine. I cut my jeans out, started everything, went to my machine to started sewing, turned on my Serious light, and found that my black fabric wasn't black at all. I was absolutely convinced. This is from my stash. Thanks to me tidying my stash last week, I knew how much denim I had up there. I have absolutely no idea where I bought it from. Probably Leon's, my local shop, but I've no idea. It's been there for a while. Yeah, absolutely convinced that this was black fabric. So I had the black top stitching all threaded up. I had black thread in my overlocker, all ready to go. Turned on my Serious light and found that in fact it was a very dark blue. Honestly. So this bit of the video is in partnership with Serious Readers and my Serious light. I've had it a few weeks now, and I did say that I'd report back and let you know how I've been getting on with it. Now I've had a good chance to use it properly. This has been a classic time when it has been absolutely invaluable, because top stitching on a dark fabric with a dark thread, well actually sewing with a dark fabric with a dark thread is notoriously difficult and very hard on the eyes. And these lights use daylight wavelength technology, so it mimics natural daylight as much as you possibly can, and it really illuminates the area that you're working on. So what I found is that because, you know, I'm not sewing together the seams, I'm sewing the outer, so the true darkness of the fabric against the dark thread. And in particular, what happened with me is that when I came to fit them, I still had a tiny little bit of a gap across my back, only a tiny bit, but I thought, I've got those darts in the back, it's crazy not to adjust it to make them absolutely perfect. And the darts at the back are top stitched with a single top stitch, I hasten to add. So I ended up having to unpick that top stitching, which is a little bit fiddly because it actually goes into the pocket, before I could change the dart. I chose not to completely unpick the dart because it had been overlocked, but I just sort of stole a little bit of extra fabric either side. Now, with this being something with a lot of elastane in it, if you'll see, because I'll put some footage in, I took some of when I had it with and without the light. And the difference being, the last thing I want is to be accidentally picking up the fibres on this denim, because if you're not careful, you actually get the white elastane fibres and not the denim. So it's been absolutely invaluable for me for doing that. This is how I have mine set up. Now I do, of course, have an offer code for you, and that is an offer that includes a free compact light if you order a high definition light, which is what I've got, or the Alex light or the classic light, and they are the lights that have the daylight wavelength technology, which is what we really need for crafting and sewing and all of that kind of thing. In my case, I've got the Gemini option, which has the two heads. So one is angled here at my overlocker and the other one angled here, there you go, at my sewing machine. And it just works brilliantly. I have to say, one thing I'm thinking of doing this week, if anyone's done this, please let me know in the comments below. I'm thinking of actually opening up my overlocker, obviously turning the electric off, and giving it a really good clean inside. So I think that this light will work really well, and because they have the adjustable beam, you can really get it in exactly where you need it to be. They are also adjustable in terms of the amount of light that you use any one time. So yeah, my offer code includes the free compact light, which is, I'll show you in a sec, it's the one I have over there that I use when I'm unpicking. That is a fantastic desk light, and it includes free shipping internationally, so nobody's left out. So that offer code is SR218, and if you click the link below and you use that offer code, you get the free compact light, which is valued at £150. Now, I am not denying it's an investment purchase, but it is one that I would wholeheartedly recommend. It is, and I think I wouldn't say that if I didn't genuinely mean it. Over Christmas, when I wasn't doing any sewing and had all the family here, I will tell you that I picked this up out of here and I took it downstairs, and it lived in the living room for 3 weeks, so that if I was doing any knitting and crochet, I could have it. And then when I brought it back up here, I am seriously missing having one downstairs. It's been marvellous. So going back to the jeans, my recommendation would be that don't bother doing the top stitching on that back dart until you've got to the point where you can fit them. She says in the instructions to baste the side seams rather than sew them down, and check the fit before you do all of that and the overlocking and all of that kind of palaver, which I did. But yeah, I would also not top stitch the dart and top stitch it later. It is a little bit fiddly because it goes into the pocket, but it is doable. And then that way you are able to make any adjustments at the back as well. But yeah, I am really excited to give myself an excuse to make another pair. Hopefully, I got a funny feeling I've actually got some more stretchy denim in my stash, so I might get that done soon. And I'm going to do the wide leg ones this time. I like how those look. But yeah, go check her out. Always worth supporting an independent female-led business, and especially one who has decided to go properly inclusive with her patterns from day one. I probably ought to tell you what I'm wearing, which is a dress I have talked about before. It is a Pattern Emporium, I think it's called the Entice Me dress. I made it probably last winter out of this wool. It's not got much wool in it. I don't think it's got any wool in it at all. This stretchy brown knit fabric that I think may have come from Abercarn. I really like this dress, It's the one that has a separate, you can choose to have a separate neck band to make it into a polo neck, or what we call a polo neck in the UK. Actually, let me go grab that and then I'll show it to you while I'm at it. Here we go. Usual thing with Pattern Emporium, they have always multiple options, multiple necklines, and I think there's a sleeveless one, and there'll be every sleeve you can imagine, and they're pretty good from that point of view. But yeah, I like this because it makes it more versatile, because yeah, I can go for that kind of a neck, or I can go this, which I suspect is probably a scoop neck. Yeah, I really love this. However, because this was cheap fabric, it has pilled like there's no tomorrow. It's very bobbly, and I've now got to the point where it's okay for being at home, and it's okay. I would wear it if I was just nipping out and doing local errands and things, but I wouldn't wear it out because of how the fabric has gone. So it's a bit disappointing from that point of view. But I like the dress very much, so it keeps reminding me to keep my eyes peeled for an alternative knit fabric that I could wear with it. Sometimes, I wasn't sure about it when I made it because of the nature of it, because it is quite fitted, and I wasn't sure how comfortable I would be with that. It's not mega tight, but yeah, sometimes I wear it with this vest top, which I made with some fabric. I think this is a Stylark pattern that was supposed to be for jersey. So sometimes I wear it with this, and then it's a bit toastier and it doesn't feel quite as that being a technical term, and I like the texture on this brown kind of, it's not really a boucle, it's more free form than a boucle, but yeah, I really like it. But you may notice that I seem to be choosing brown a lot at the moment, and I'm getting a bit bored of it. And I had a bit of a think about that this week, and I thought, I've got into a bit of a rut, and I know that I have made a real effort to stick within my colour palette in the last quite a while now, really, and that definitely works for me, but I have tended to just go brown and green and sometimes orange because I like orange. So it has reminded me to dig out the cards that I had from the colour analysis lady, Boz, who used to have a fabric, what was she called? Fabric Magpie. She used to have an online fabric shop. She organised a meet-up in Manchester a few years ago. That's my daughter ringing me. As I was saying, so Boz organised a sewing meet-up and had somebody there who was doing just a very quick colour analysis thing. So I never had a proper full session, and then you could order these cards with the different colours on. So I seem to have forgotten. I've seemed to have forgotten all colours other than brown and green and occasionally red. So I'm getting a bit bored and a bit fed up of it. So I've dug this out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these out of the little plastic doodahs and pin them up on my corkboard here and try to re-enthuse myself to try some different colours or some different colour options, because there's only so much brown that one woman can wear. Okay, so before I go, I've got to make a confession. Last week on my video, I talked about how much I hate ironing, and lots of you posted comments saying, why don't you try a steamer? Handheld steamer, or one of those big, ones where you have a hanger and you steam. This is the confession. I have one. I have a handheld steamer, and I've got one of the big ones with a tank and a whatever, which is downstairs in the basement. And not only that, I know for sure that I have talked about how brilliant the steamer is here on YouTube, and I had completely forgotten. Honestly, totally and utterly escaped my mind. Please tell me I'm not the only person who's got a shocking memory these days. I'm blaming the menopause. So, thank you very much everybody for the reminder. I think what I'm going to do is actually go on YouTube and watch my own video where I talked about how invaluable having the steamer was, because I can't remember. Anyway, yes, thank you very much. And what I'm hoping is it means that I can wear my Amy skirt a lot more often, because I don't have to do the dreaded ironing. Do go and check out the Serious Lights. There will be a link below, and a reminder that the offer code is SR218, which means that with any purchases within the Serious Lights range, you get the free compact light, which is worth £150, which is this one here that I use all the time here, and it includes free international shipping. They are a UK manufacturer, but they ship internationally. And there is a 5-year warranty as well, so you've got the peace of mind of that too. Link will be below. I will be back next week. I don't know what I'm going to do next week. I suspect that if I have got some stretch denim, I might make another pair of these jeans. If not, I might get into making some more wintry tops. I know that the shops at the moment and all the stuff online, all the kind of fashion influencers and whatnot, they're all talking about spring, summer. I mean, it was snowing last week. I am not psychologically in a spring and summer mood, and I'm slightly kind of avoiding it, because there's a lot of talk about lilac being very on trend this year, and lilac is not a colour for me at all. It makes me look awful. I think it's honestly my most awful colour. I don't mean visually, I like how it looks actually, but it makes me look terrible. So I'm slightly in denial about spring summer stuff at the moment, so I'm still very much in wintry mode, but who knows? come and watch me next week and you'll find out what I've been doing. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. I will see you next week. Bye bye.